Oh, what's up? It's been a long time. So I know down here is looking, it looks like chaos because it is chaos. But I'm talking you through some updates just because it's been forever and I haven't talked to you guys. And thought I'd let you know what's on the burners and what's happening and all that sort of business. So quickly, let's see what we got going on. Thing number one, pile of fabric over here. These are all felts. So I've got a light blue, a creamy white, a purple, a green. These guys are separate things. And those are going to be for some large-scale pennant banners that I'm going to do for a sort of like a multi-piece artwork install in my living room. And it's one of those ones where it's like a whole bunch of different sized pieces that fill up a really large wall. And the trick there is getting everything to sort of fit with reasonable gaps in between them that are consistent so it looks cohesive and all that. And I'm trying to do it out of some diverse stuff. So there's going to be some textile stuff, thus the felt. There's going to be some photographs, some paintings, some prints, some frame stuff, some not frame stuff, like just sort of like a nice mix of texture to it. Anyway, to get that going, obviously you got to do a scale drawing of your wall so that you can put scale mock-ups on it so you can figure out layout before you start drilling holes all over the wall. I don't want to do like a big strip of French cleat across the wall to hang stuff on. I'd really like it for it to be sort of fairly discreet in its hanging and nothing on the wall behind it. So yeah, and then after that I'm going to have to figure out some lighting solutions for it to make sure it looks the way it should. I'm trying to pay more attention to like the sculpting of the light in the house. I was really good with that when we moved in, and I've slacked somewhat. So anyway, that's on the list, is making one of those. I have not yet decided. My original thinking had been that it was going to be a 2-foot by 3-foot sort of flag-sized banner, felt lettering stitched with a border, you know, old school. But now, actually, just this morning, I was thinking that it might actually be like a foot tall and like 5 feet long. It sort of depends on the wording that we come up with and what the actual phrase is going to be and how much space I need to get the proportions to fit right. So anyway, things to think about. I kind of like the idea of like a big, long, thin one going across the top, but we'll see. All right, next up, this bin down here. I know this looks just like a bin of random junk to you, but this isn't. This is the beginning of trip prep. I've got an adventure planned with the family coming up this summer, and this is the start of some of the small bits and bobs of technology and organization and what have you that are going to be going on that. There will be a lot more in this box as it goes. So chargers and extension cables and mounting solutions, and you know, I'm bringing a GoPro and some cameras and whatnot. Hopefully there'll be a video that comes out of that. And yeah, I want ways to mount GoPros, and I want ways to get cameras set up and charge things and handle all the data and blah, 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 blah. So that's what that is. This is the clothing repair pile. Lovely pair of pants and a lovely shirt from my son, both of which need buttons sewn back on. That's a quick project, but it's been lagging and I need to get to it. These are my very first foray into sewing with stretch fabrics. So these are actually made of a 4-way stretch. It's fairly heavyweight. In case you don't know, these are knee warmers for cycling. So normal cycling shorts come down to just above your knee. These guys go under the bottom part of your bike shorts. So they go up to sort of like mid-thigh. They go over your knee and down to the sort of the top of your calf. And they just sort of, they turn your regular shorts into something a bit longer when it's a bit cold and you want to keep your knees comfy and happy. So this is my first time ever stitching a stretch fabric on my sewing machine. I modeled these after a commercial pair of these that I had. And these are just like sort of rough done. And I've worn them once or twice and they are fantastic. And they were super easy to make. I think I spent maybe 15 or 20 minutes making these when I did them. So that was really exciting, that it was not as scary or as intimidating as I feared it might be. So I'm looking forward to more projects of that sort. I mean, not those exact things, obviously, but I'm less scared of stretch fabrics than I used to be. And it's always good to sort of like reevaluate why you're intimidated by a particular thing and whether you should continue to be intimidated because it's genuinely difficult, or if you've overestimated something and it's not as bad as you thought. And this is one of those times where it wasn't as bad as I thought. So that's good. I copped something as well. So again, part of that trip that I'm going on, I'm going out west, and it's going to be less warm than it is here. And these two God, that's terrible presentation on my part. I apologize. This is a long sleeve shirt in heather gray. Yeah. Yeah. And then that is its short sleeve partner right there. They are made by Chrome, which you might know if you're a bike person. They've been known for doing bags, but they've been doing clothing the last bunch of years and all of that. And these are from their new line of merino wool. I think they're 18 micron merino wool shirts. And I'm a big fan of merino wool, and you should be too, because it's fantastic stuff. And while I got these to ride with and all of that, they will be going in that bin as well. Merino's great because if you've not used it, and I grew up using it, but if you've not used it, merino wool is amazing. It's not very itchy. It is hypoallergenic. It is very resistant to bacteria, and thus it doesn't smell much. It wicks really well, and it insulates when it's wet. It's kind of the best. It's fantastic if you're going through varying terrain, or if you might not be able to, if you want to rewear a shirt on a trip, like you want to bring sort of limited luggage on this thing. So a long sleeve shirt and a short sleeve shirt layered with other things are giving me a lot of versatility in terms of my outfit and my comfort level when I'm on this trip, and also riding bikes around here and hiking and all of that sort of outdoorsy stuff. So I'm pretty psyched about all of that. And I'm trying to think what else we got going on super new down here. Oh, we're making a little bit of progress on the rack unit. So there's a bunch of rack gear over there. This guy is my existing rack. And that is going to get redone. And it's going to be 28 rack units high. And it's going to have, I think, 4-inch or 5-inch casters on it. And in fact, those casters are down here somewhere. Yeah, what was I saying about disaster zone down here? Yeah, they're down here somewhere. Anyway, so it's going to be a nice fat set of casters on the bottom of it, and it's going to be 28 rack units high. It's going to be as deep as this guy is, and I need that because the top X-Serve there is full length in this thing. It also gives me the ability to mount stuff on the front panel here, and then also off a back panel in the back to sort of separate stuff. And that's going to finally, after years of hodgepodge cable rat's nest horrors, it's going to finally allow me to consolidate gear and wiring and all of that, and have sort of everything relatively neat and tucked out of the way and healthy and centrally located, which will just be so much better. So I'm pretty psyched about that. I'm building it myself, and it's on the verge there, which is good. I've also got designed for this storage unit over here. Let me move these out of the way. For this storage unit here, which I've added a couple things to, right? So I've added a tray here that handles the what are they called? The manuals for the sewing machine and for the vinyl cutter plotter thing and all that sort of stuff. And that's been great. And it gives me a place underneath my shelf for the actual sewing machine. And then I've got the typewriter shelf here, which is set down and is just perfectly sized. I'm very pleased with that. But down here, I've got all these Plano boxes that are just sort of like resting in the bottom. So I finally drew up some plans to build a master box that'll fit there. Might do a second one for this side as well. That's going to give me a nice fitted drawer and some controls so they're not just wedged in the bottom all willy-nilly like that. And it'll look a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer, and I've got some ideas about that sort of thing. So that's on the list as well. And this box here that I've been showing you stuff on top of is full of prints and photographs and original art, and that stuff is probably destined, at least in part, to end up either on this wall here, which I have plans for as well, or for the main wall upstairs. I've been considering, sort of the backing part of the studio over here, I've been considering what to do with that wall, visually speaking, and part of me wanted to do this entire wall in corkboard, but then I'm thinking like that's probably too much. And like, do you stop at this edge here, or do you go in like how do you define that, right? And And it's a lot. Like, how do you get to stick to the wall properly and all the rest? And truth be told, I already, you guys don't come over here very often, I already, down this, have a corkboard set up that has ideas and test. That's a test pennant, just to sort of like roughly see. I thought on this, I thought I might be able to get my vinyl plotter to cut the felt really cleanly and get nice crisp letters out of it, and no is the answer. I had to jump through hoops to get those out of it, and if you look closely, you could see they're thin and they're wonky, and I mean they're not bad. It's fine, but it's not something I'm going to want up in my living room. But I've got a couple other pieces of art down here, and I like them here. But I've been considering moving something to have texture over around the corner that way. So I've been thinking about chalkboard. I've been thinking about another installed piece. I kind of like the idea of a bunch of pieces put together a little bit more loose than the one upstairs. Just to take you through real quick, this is from a favorite book of mine, which is I No Longer Believe in the Sun, Love Letters to Katie Couric by Derek Fenner. And this is a restraining order against him by Katie Couric. It is not, I mean, it's legally properly written, but it is not an actual filed one. These were a limited edition broadside. There are 100 of them. I've got one here, and there's another one over in that box. And then what else we got? A parallel universe warning thing here, which is a lovely print. Over here, that's an original DJ Shadow Dark Days 45. I think there were only 1,000 of those pressed. And there's one there, and I think I've got another 8 of them in the stacks. And then this is one of those incredibly cool but incredibly annoying 3-inch CDs that was put out by DJ Signify and 6-2 at some live shows they did. Because this is music down here, because this is Music Land. And maybe someday we'll talk about Music Land. Maybe. Anyway. That's the rough take on where we're at right now and what I'm doing and where I've been. It's a really busy time of year for me. The kids are coming up on the end of the school year. I'm coming up on the start of the summer semester, so I'm very busy. But I thought it's been several weeks and I should probably get something out there so you guys just know I'm not gone entirely. I'm just slowed down a little bit. It's going to be fine. All right. Happy to talk to you. Leave a comment, subscribe. Tell somebody about it, post it somewhere. Do what you gotta do. Great to see you.